Welcome back, Griff fans. Thank you so much for joining me. Wow, less than 3 minutes in, and I'm voicing and ready to go. I'm rather chopping out of bed to really finish this story, and honestly, I gotta finish this chapter as quickly as possible. I got a big day ahead of me, and I know the rest of you must be too. So, without further ado, let's flap on over the camera. Thank you guys for joining me, and rather simple get up today. You are currently hearing medieval folklore music, Celtic Druid fantasy enchanted from Raven's Gold. Oh, I love this one. It's gotta be one of my favorites, hands down. Love the image. It's like a druid trying to cast a spell with shattering images of, well, blades. A piece of it looks like they're breaking the enchantment on a sword. This bluish glow in their eyes and a swirl of magic all around, hands poised in focus. Love it. Alright, check out the link if you want to see that music for yourself. And let me see, how am I doing with centerage? Scooch you over. If you're wondering what this fireball is here, Rocky has been seeming rather extra anxious this morning. I think he's just wanting some love. He's just not sure what to do with himself, so here he is. Unfortunately, Shady and I, as of last night, have determined that he may need help getting up and downstairs in the future, so he heads down the stairs pretty energetically enough in the mornings, but I don't know how much longer he can or wants to keep that up. So anyway, in the meantime, just loving on him, petting him while I can, while I'm still here. Because I got a classes appointment later, eye exam, and I got stuff to do. And you guys might have heard it already, I'm sounding a little croaky. It's been a crazy weekend, I've been out and about, and I think today would be a good day to stay home and let my throat rest as much as possible. I was resting all day yesterday and getting stuff done, but still time to... My body is telling me, you gotta rest it some more. Least you want to lose it. And if you guys know me long enough, you know that I hate losing my voice. It's like one of the few things I really don't like going wrong with me. I want to give a quick shout out to Chow2374. Thank you so much for the follow. I discovered this person over in Johnny Canal's stream where Johnny gives away like all sorts of rare Pokemon, and there's a bit of a waiting list now, as you can imagine, with Scarlet and Violet having recently released. But it's where you can get your botted Pokemon. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but anyway, I know that, randomly generated, and a lot of people are requesting a lot of rare stuff. Though they're unlimited supply, people are rather anxious and holding their spot in line to get a nice Pokemon for the Pokemon games. Alright, but moving on from Pokemon, as much as I love it, let's move on to Hocus Pocus. The next chapter we're coming up on, guys. Cell binding. And not spell binding. And cell, not jail cell, but C-E-L-L binding. Ugh. Oh, goodness. Alright, there we go. Whew. Little explanation if anybody sees this video in Lurkland that's been here for the first time. Again, my name is Mithril. I am the self-proclaimed Griffin nanny of Twitch, and usually I'm playing video games live, but lately I've been trying to finish the Hocus Pocus book, part 1 and 2. We've already finished the first one, and I'm wanting to finish the second one before I see the actual movie. We still have quite a bit to go, but I'm trying to get on schedule. Well, not schedule, excuse me. Me and schedule. Trying to get on stream as much as possible. We do not have a set schedule because I have such a hectic lifestyle. But I got VODs galore, and by the way, I don't think I've said it clearly enough yet, in the future, when I decide to read a book online like this, I am not going to be doing it live unless it's like a special occasion in a short book, sure, and I have the author's permission, but there seems to be too many interruptions and delays and lags, and even though they're not really skipping the videos, I want these experiences to be as smooth as possible. So in the future, if I'm reading a book, I will be recording offline then uploading it. And I do plan on utilizing YouTube more often in the future for that purpose. I know a lot of people have been wondering. And yes, the answer is yes. Now, will I be partnering up with YouTube? Not as much as I am with Twitch, honestly, but it'll be a place to put my content. Alright, let's continue. Cell binding. Real quick, as we last left our heroes, the three witches were up in the air, had discovered a cell phone, and kind of figured out how to use it. It was an Apple phone, if you recall. And Poppy and her friends, Isabella and Travis, are trying to wrap their heads around being confronted by kindly ghosts, the fact that Poppy's parents have been transported to hell or switched out into hell. And Poppy had one of those rare, unique moments. I got a little emotional, if you'll recall. Where she got to actually talk to her parents, ask them what to do next. Let's continue. Cell binding. The Sanderson sisters land in the middle of the deserted street, heels clicking on pavement as they cross into a squat, unlit building with plate glass windows and a hand-lettered sign reading The Oracle Stone. Beneath it, a second, smaller sign reads Crystals, Incense, Talismans, and Texts. While Renifred stalks up to the shop to let herself in, Mary finds her attention drawn by the shop next door. A banner hangs in front of the window with a wide series of pictures of women and men laughing as they press different versions of the strange memory box to their cheeks. The text along the bottom of the banner reads, Your contacts, our network. Connect more. Mary looks at the object in her hands doubtfully and presses the buttons again until she finds an outline of a head and torso. Beneath the image is the word contacts. She presses it, and a long list of names appears. Chewing her lip, Mary follows Winifred to the front of the Oracle Stone. A group of three men in costumes come staggering down the street, laughing loudly. One has his arms draped around the shoulders of the other two. He looks, Winifred thinks, as if he's been too long in the brewer's cold cellar. Excuse me, good sir. Sarah puts a hand on the arm of the man in the middle. He has high cheekbones and a perfect smile. She squeezes his forearm with barely masked excitement. Could you help a lady in need? The group swivels to face the witches. Oh my God! The middle one balks, straightening when he spots them. The Sanderson sisters! Sarah's sisters peer around her shoulder at the man, and he gives a shriek of laughter. His friends are beaming too. He extracts his arms from around their shoulders, but stumbles backwards. You ladies look fab, he says. Can I get a selfie? Winifred looks at her sisters, perturbed and uncertain. What? A selfie, he repeats. I'll be quick. He hiccups and shakes his head as if trying to knock some sense back into himself. Okay, let's work it. He pulls out a box that resembles the one in Mary's hand. He poses in front of the confused sisters, and when the box lights up with a brilliant white burst, they shriek and jump back. Ah! The man laughs. You ladies are so spot on. I love it. His curls all seem to gather at the top of his head, spilling down a little over his forehead. He combs them back with his fingers and slings his arms back around his friends. And you are so drunk, one friend grunts at him, giving the sisters an apologetic smile. Night, ladies. We have need to enter this shop, says Winifred. She points at the dark locked door of the Oracle Stone. They're open tomorrow. Oh, wait. They're open tomorrow, he says, nodding at a sign with the store's hours. But come early. They'll be packed the rest of the week for post-Halloween sales. The three men wander off, stumbling, one in the middle shouting, I put a spell on you, and now you're mine, 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 as they veer off down the pedestrian alley. Nice callback, if you ask me. Winifred watches them go. Hooligans, she mutters. Beautiful hooligans, Sarah agrees dreamily. They must have been really good looking in her eyes. Winifred turns back to the shop and zaps the brass handle with a quick bolt of lightning. She thunders into the store and looks around, skirts billowing around her. "It isn't here!" she exclaims, voice shaking. "That memory box lied to us!" The shop smells musty and spicy, especially near one table where candles sit next to carefully arranged bundles of dried herbs and baskets of sticks that exude the scents of earth and tumbled leaves. About ready to get down, buddy? Getting anxious? You okay? Sorry, Rocky is kind of shifting unsteadily. Let me see if he wants down real quick. You doing okay, buddy? There you go. You want your bed? It's hard watching your family members, and that includes dogs and cats and pretty much any animal, get older. But he seems better soothed now. I think he just needed to be held for a little while. Excuse me. Let's continue. The shop smells. Oh, I read that paragraph already. There are shelves of books on spirituality and the occult, each section propped up by bookends made from huge agates. Agates? I still haven't learned how to say that word. Agates. Their polished faces rippling with bands of color. Their jewelry displays shining with polished stones and burnished metals. Sarah claps her hands, plucking up a necklace of huge black pearls surrounding an even larger purple stone. "Winnie," Mary ventures, "the box, I believe it summons—" "I will not trust that blasted chattering box again," snaps Winifred. "Sarah, come. We'll find the house of the traitorous bottom dweller of a sister, and we'll turn it inside out." Okay, she's insulting their fourth sister. "But Winnie," Mary says, following her sisters to the shop door, "it's been 300 years. What if houses don't stand there any—" Winifred whirls around and bears down upon her. "And 300 years our own house stands the same, does it not, Mary?" "Yes," Mary yelps. "Well, except that everything is broken now, thanks to—" "Enough!" Winifred says, sniffing with disgust. She turns on her heel and heads back to the front of the store. "Enough, enough, enough!" chimes Sarah, stomping her boots and twirling her skirts. I think this is how Sarah's always deal with the stress between her sisters, like this. It's how she tried to diffuse the situation. "But what if Sarah could call the children through the box?" Mary blurts. Winifred freezes, unused to being challenged by either of her sisters. "Sarah can already call the children, you dalcop. Dalcop. D-A-L-C-O-P. Never seen that word before. "Yes, if they can hear her," Mary says quickly, trying to fill her words into one breath. "But what about the ones who are too far away to—" In the background, an oblivious Sarah slips a ring onto her finger and holds it up to the window, examining the shine. "Go on, Mary," says Winifred with disdain, turning and stepping towards her brunette sister. "What if I am wrong and thou art not wrong? Is this thy meaning? "Yes, no, of course not," Mary says, quailing under her sister's stormy gaze. Winifred leaves the shop, snatching at Sarah's wrist as she passes. "Our brooms! They're gone!" Winifred calls out. Sarah stumbles after her, throwing Mary an apologetic look. "We shall find more brooms," Sarah replies cheerily. Mary turns away with a sigh. She sees a piece of fool's gold, pyrite, her mother called it, and runs one finger along its rough ribs. She still remembers the day she found a piece of this at the age of 6 and told Winnie that she'd made them all rich. Winnie, with the superiority of several years and her own mistakes, replied that Mary was a stupid, gullible girl. Lord, Winifred. They love each other, but in the most toxic way, I swear. Well, Winifred does. Mary and Sarah are always there, pretty strong for each other for the most part, I believe. Mary picks up its worthless stone and examines it in the thin moonlight. "I'm always just the sister on the outside," Mary sings softly. "I'm always just the sister without a ride." She pauses to swallow a sob. She's sucks her lips into her mouth and, steadying herself, and opens her hand to see the stone again. After a moment, she turns towards the open front door and continues to sing, I can't see past that look inside your eye. I don't know how this melody goes, so I'm totally improvising. Around her, gemstones float slowly in the air, catching the light of street lamps filtering through the front windows. I can't tell what you're scheming of tonight. Her voice lifts higher, stronger. I don't know where I've done you wrong, but I'm not slow. Mary strides towards the door with more determination. Oh, this ain't love, oh, Winnie, I know. Ooh. Mary swings onto the street, but her sisters are nowhere in sight. A trail of gemstones follows her out, sparkling and crisscrossing as she swirls down the street by herself, her voice gaining confidence. Ever since your first words and your first hex, long before your powers and your projects, you always thought you're better than me. You're the top dog and I am the flea. She freezes in front of a second-hand store, checking her reflection in the standing mirror on display. But that's not true. The world's not for you, she insists, spinning away. You're not in charge. The world's always been ours. I don't know where I've done you wrong, but I'm not slow. Oh, this ain't love. Oh, Winnie, I know. As Mary passes Dot's music store, a trumpet in the window floats up and plays a soulful riff, its sound muffled by the thick glass like a 1930s jazz intro. A narrow drum sidles up next to it, sticks rapping in time with Mary's sashaying footsteps. Oh, Winnie, I know. Oh, Winnie, I know. She belts out, arms spread open wide to take up all the space she can. The musical instruments burst through the plate glass store window and trails her down the walk. Tonight I'm doing everything. I'll show you who I'm meant to be. Tonight I'll prove that I'm worth your time. I'm full of witchy energy. I don't care what you've got planned or if it's grand. Oh, this ain't love, oh, I ain't slow. Oh, Winnie, I know. I like this. We'll look at the song after this stream. She spins around, pirouetting in the warm light of the moon, and frolics down the row of huge houses, throwing her arms out as she dances, her toes barely touching the ground. Go, Mary. You might not want it to be true, Winnie, but I'm more than what you see in me, Winnie. Freedom is intoxicating, and the gemstones and musical instruments from her own glittering entourage. Tonight before sunrise, I'll push back your lies, and I'll be more than a bore, oh, so much more than you thought I could be, Winnie. Oh, this ain't love, oh, Winnie, I know. I'm taking a stand, tonight's the Mary Show. She ends with a dramatic flourish, chest heaving. Beside her, someone clears her throat impatiently. Mary pivots, stones and instruments crashing down on the pavement. Winifred watches her with distaste, two red eyebrows arched almost as high as her hairline. Art thou quite finished? Mary drops her limbs close to her body and smooths her skirts self-consciously. Yes, Winnie. Sorry, Winnie, she says, watching her feet. Good, says her sister crisply. I have a plan. Wow. I'm going to have to pause there, even though it's not a good spot. I realized I didn't grab me any water, but please ignore this ad. I will be right back. Feel free to give your own thoughts of what's going on and listen to more Raven Skulls. I'll be back in just a moment or so. Whew. I was not expecting an impromptu singing short. My throat is definitely paying the price now. See you in a moment. Alright, poor Shady. Just now waking up and feeling better after a little bit of drinking some water and spraying my throat a bit. I gotta say that I am really, really looking forward to that scene and really proud of where it's going with Mary, because it is not, first of all, it is not easy being the middle child as it is. But to stand up to your sister with the way that Winnie has been so belittling of her younger sisters, it's only a matter of time, if you ask me. Alright, thank you so much for your patience. And I don't know if you guys knew, but the stream, like this scene right here, might be muted with like the alerts and stuff, but feel free to chat or don't, just listen, that's fine. Let me know what you're thinking, and when I pause, I will gladly address anything going on in chat. And yeah. Whew. And if you are just getting here and you have no idea what I'm talking about this singing solo, I recommend watching this VOD later on when you have a moment. Alright, let's continue. Good, said her sister crisply. I have a plan. The three sisters hurried through the picket fence surrounding the beautiful White House, one of the few homes on the block whose lights are still on. Inside, a handful of teenagers in costumes danced to loud music. Another group is sprawled on a selection of chairs and couches. There's a cauldron on the table near the door, and Sarah hurries over to it, picking up one of the items inside, which is wrapped in a crinkling, brightly colored paper. She peels open the wrapper and tastes the contents with the very tip of her tongue. Chocolate, she says, and then spits, throwing the thing down. She goes to grab an item with a different wrapper on a platter of frosted cookies, but as she brings the salmon-colored thing to her mouth, Winifred elbows her in the stomach. Sarah gasps as she drops the candy and clutches her middle. Get to work, says Winifred. With a huff, Sarah pulls the talking box from the depths of her skirts and goes to the nearest young man, who is dressed in a black cape with blood splattered down his unbuttoned white shirt. Well met, good sir, she says, batting her eyelashes and giving him a warm smile. Hi, he says, around pointed plastic teeth, trying very hard not to look at her low-cut bodice. She throws him up the box, which is balanced daintily on the tips of her fingers. Wouldst thou explain to me how this contraption works? Behind her, Mary chews her lip nervously as Winifred grins. 3 stars dang it. 3 horizontal stars are now suggesting that either this is meanwhile or later on. I gotta read ahead, but it seems that we're about to shift back over to Poppy's first person perspective. So give me a second while I try to channel her voice again. I've got a particular impression towards Poppy that very, very, very well may change when I see the movie. Who knows? But for right now, I'm going to stick with what I know and got. So you're saying we need a fragment of bone? I ask Elizabeth. My eyes flit behind her to Travis, who is talking in a low voice to Binks and Emily. My phone buzzes to life with an incoming call, interrupting us. I pull it out of my pocket and look at Isabella. Where's your phone? Isabella blinks and tilts her head. My phone got left behind in my peak coat when they turned me into this magnificent creature. Well, you're calling me. Ah. What? I don't even have opposable thumbs, she retorts. I turn my phone down to show her. Poppy, where's that photo from? She asks. I like it. I didn't know you took it. I turn my phone back to me and see the visual that pops up when she calls. It's shot of her in a woolly sweater at the beach, gazing out over Salem Harbor with this beautiful faraway look on her face. I took it shortly after the start of the school year. And I thought you didn't like taking photos on phones, said Isabella teasingly. It's convenient, I say, trying to shrug it off, but she can probably tell I'm embarrassed. It's okay, she says. It's a nice picture. I'm glad you took it. Blushing, I answer the call and press the phone against my ear, grateful to stop the conversation in its tracks. Hello? I ask. Poppy, that might not be. Isabella's voice fades out of my range of hearing like a car radio spun down to low. The world takes on a milky hue as if the light reflecting off leaves and blades of grass had a blurry filter on it. The thoughts in my head slow and spiral, and all I can think about is the beauty of the song looping through my brain. Come, little children, I'll take thee away. So now we get to see from Poppy's perspective what it's like to be under this trance. I've never tasted words before, but these words tasted like buttercream frosting. I look at Isabella, whose black and white face is pressed close to mine, and I realize I've collapsed onto my back in the grass, though I don't remember what I did when I did that. She looks concerned, and I hear a distant whimper that seems filtered through layers and layers of cotton balls. Suddenly, the idea that Isabella could be trapped as a dog forever seems impossible. And my parents? My parents will be fine. Maybe hell's even a welcome break for them. Nothing to do? No pressures? It sounds nice. Besides, the witches just wanted some time to enjoy Halloween night. And don't we all, really? Anyway, I have a blood moonstone on track down for Sarah. And where's the spell book? We have it, don't we? I look at my friends. No. My enemies? She's being possessed and entranced and controlled. Yeah. Isabella whimpers again, and I want to share this song with her to help her understand the mission. I want to share this song with everyone. I could dive in and swim through its warm, slow waves of dark chocolate and cinnamon. I think I will. The phone is ripped out of my hand and the voice disappears, leaving me with an aching sense of loss. Why did you do that? I shout at Travis, who has ended the call and taken away all the comfort that came with it. Give it back! He looks at me with wide eyes and shakes his head. No phone for Poppy. Elizabeth crouches beside me, taking both of my hands in hers. That was the voice of my sister, Sarah, she says. I know it anywhere, but how did she speak to you through that thing? My thoughts are fuzzy and running slow, and I'm not sure how to answer. Elizabeth seems to notice. She touches my cheek, and the chill of her fingers spreads over my face and down my neck. I shiver, and when I do, the last of the song's effects seem to vanish. Sarah has a gift, Elizabeth has, but all of her life she's used it selfishly. Travis's phone rings, then we both turn to look at him. Isabella, he says, showing us the screen where there's another incoming call from Isabella Richards. They took your phone and they're working through your contacts, I say to Isabella. My recent calls, she agrees. Oh no, my mom, my dad. I'm sure they're okay, I say, trying my best to sound reassuring. Isabella nods. Can't think about that right now. How did they get that to work? There's a lesson about locked screens in here, says Travis, rejecting the call with a quick swipe of his thumb. The three ghosts are looking from each of us to the next, clearly puzzled. I really appreciate how much time the ghosts are getting in this scene, quite honestly. Or in this book, I should say. How involved they are. These phones allow you to talk to people far away, explains Isabella. You can even send written notes and photos. When Binks knits his eyebrow, Isabella hesitates. Photographs. Sorry, I forgot they weren't around when you... She breaks off. Never mind. The point is, Sarah is calling people I know and trying to cast a spell on them, but I don't understand why. Poppy, didn't you say the last time they flew over Salem to cast a spell on everyone, doing it one by one? Isn't that slower? I don't know. Hearing it made me want to sing it all to all of you. Maybe it's like some sort of game of telephone, but with her spell. I say, looking at Travis. I used to love playing that game in school. It's a good thing you didn't let her finish, I shake my head. Perhaps, says Elizabeth. But if Winifred is involved, there is some other scheme in play. You must find that moonstone, Isabella, or my sisters truly will. Find it and destroy it. Isabella nods. Show us how to cast that spell you were telling us about earlier. Well, as I was saying, says Elizabeth, we must first find a fragment of bone, along with the fruit of the earth, leaves deceased, and a bed of soil. She studies Isabella for another long moment. You're going to make a great witch one day, you know. You've already got the cunning and bravery. She smiles. It's a good thing, too. You're going to need them both. 3 horizontal stars, switching our scenes, and we are almost done with this chapter. We've got about 2.5 pages left to go. Buckle up. Travis and I scour the dark woods for holly berries, while Isabella scratches in a clearing that's well away from any fresh graves. Emily and Binks help by picking through the freshly turned dirt, pulling out any leaves and bits of grass that might stifle the spell. Isabella reappears after a few minutes with a sharp splinter of bone in her mouth. Where did you find that? Asked Travis, eyeing it. Actually, you know what? Forget I asked. I put the berries in a heap at the center of the dirt circle, and Elizabeth sets the bones down beside them. Travis takes a handful of dead leaves and twigs and adds them to the other side of the bone. You'll need to add a piece of yourself to it, Elizabeth says. Winnie would recommend blood, but I think that's a bit too morbid, don't you? I've been shedding, says Isabella, shaking her whole body like a dog trying to air dry. Will that work? Well, we shall see, says Isabella. Elizabeth. Switching back forth between these names. Oh gosh, Elizabeth, Isabella. It's getting me a little tongue-tied. Remember, Elizabeth is Isabella's great grandmother. Give or take a couple grades. My mother taught me a spell. Oh, excuse me. I stood up and picked up a short stray of hair of hers from the ground, and then added it to the pile of items. My mother taught me a spell after she gave me the moonstone so that I might always be able to find it should I ever lose it. But she made me swear never to tell Winifred or the others. It's not in the book, says Elizabeth. She then leans down and whispers directions to Isabella, who repeats the spell in a strong, clear voice. That is so smart. You know, I'm starting to think that their mother wasn't all that bad. Dark grip just got a hold of the 3 older sisters. Blood of family, blood of stone, over, under, backward roam, on mountain high, in graveyard deep, show me where the moonstone sleeps. The leaves and twigs rearrange, sketching a map that turns piled foliage into hills and valleys, drawing lines that might be borders on roads. The berries roll, too, clustering along one winding line of bare, wet earth. Those are buildings, Elizabeth says, leaning down and pointing at each berry. The chapel, the milliner's house, mine. A lone berry tumbles far away from the others and nestles in a soft bit of earth. That's my childhood home, and this one was the Binks's house. She looks up at Emily. Do you remember, Poppet? The girl nods solemnly, and then a sad smile breaks over her face. The bone is the beginning of it to tumble now, too, end over end until it reaches an outcropping of leafland bordered on 3 sides by damp soil. It digs itself into the lower right side like a particularly ghastly pushpin. That is where the bloodstone is, says Elizabeth, pointing. I squat down to get a better look at the makeshift map. Where is that? I try to imagine modern-day Salem overlaid on the berries and wet dirt. Winter Island? I look from Travis to Isabella, and then to Elizabeth. Yes, she says thoughtfully. Winter Island. There was a fort for defense of the town, but it was also a place for selling and drying fish. Dozens of ships pass through there every day. This is so cool. We're going to be going to a new destination and learn something new about Salem itself. Love it. And it's something that they have in common, the knowledge, you know. It's a park now, I say. People go there to camp and vacation. A park with a lighthouse, Isabella says, looking thoughtful. She gazes up to meet my eyes. If anyone knows anything about the lighthouse's history, it's Principal Taylor. Oh, great. Are we going to have to go visit Mr. Hollywood again? I can't wait to see him in the movie, too, so I can stop doing the Hollywood thing in my mind. We need to talk to him right away. He might know if anything was dug up when they built the lighthouse, or when they tore down the old port. Okay, I say slowly, trying not to commit. But what are the chances? He is not exactly our biggest fan. Poppy, says Travis. He uses the tone he adopts whenever he wants to snap sense to me. Principal Taylor may have been a bully in high school, but he's not a monster. I sigh. I hope not. That's actually what I've been thinking. You know I'm right, says Travis, as always, and you're going to be the one to ask him, since you can remind him of what a jerk face he was to you and your dad. Jerk face, jerk face, jerk, 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 jerk face. And I just got a notification that you're about to get an ad, but I just muted it for 5 minutes because we're almost done. I smile faintly, recognizing the insult he picked up from Aunt Danny. You know, maybe we should go check out the Taylor's place. Besides, I saw Principal Taylor leave our party. I bet he's home with the lights off, keeping track or trick-or-treaters away, if he's not already asleep. I know a shortcut, says Isabella. We all look at her. Katie and I used to be friends, she says. Confirmed. Travis and I exchange glances, then give her a long, inviting more explanation. What? It was a long time ago, she says. Like when we were little kids? I can tell she doesn't want to talk about it, which just makes me more curious. All right, we'll revisit that bombshell after November 1st, I say. Katie Taylor? Really? Travis cuts in. Not that we're judging you, he adds quickly. I shoot him a look and then turn to Isabella. Ride or die, right? Realizing what I'd said, I spin to face the ghosts. No offense, but I don't see them. Oh, shoot. I'm reading this too fast. Let me try that again. I shoot him a look, then turn to Isabella. Ride or die, right? Realizing what I said, I spin to face the ghosts. No offense, but I don't see them, and I'm filled with a sudden sense of loss. They were my only line of communication to my family. I look around frantically. Elizabeth? Binks? Emily? I call out to the chilly night air. I spin back to my friends. Where did they go? I don't know, Pops, says Travis. Looks like we've been ghosted. Oh, Lord. You know, we still got quite a bit to go in this story. Look at that right there. Next time we pick up, I love the title of this one, Don't Let My Resting Witch Face Fool You. You want to see the picture? Nope, gotta wait till next time. At least for me. But if you have this book, we'll be picking up on page 368 if you've been reading along or you happen to have it or whatever. Thank you, Griffins, for joining me today or in the future. Beating 45 minutes. How about that? All right. I will sign out for now. I'm going to host somebody really cool. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you next time real soon on the Griffins and see what happens next in the story. Bye, 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 bye. Wink.